The first thing Daniel noticed wasn't the blindfold. It was the smell. Antiseptic. Thick. Clinical. Clean in a way that didn't belong in the back of a moving van. By the time he understood what that meant, it was already too late. Daniel Mensah was 28, a biomedical technician at a private clinic in Accra. He fixed dialysis machines, calibrated monitors, replaced faulty circuits in surgical equipment. He wasn't rich, but he was stable. He had a mother who called every evening and a younger sister who texted him memes at 2 a.m. He had a life. The night he disappeared, he'd stayed late at work. A generator malfunction had knocked out power to half the ward. By the time he finished troubleshooting, the streets were thinning out. He never made it home. Witnesses later said a white van had idled across from the clinic for nearly an hour. No license plate. Tinted windows. Engine running. Daniel stepped onto the roadside to order a ride. That was when a hand clamped over his mouth. A needle pricked his neck. The world folded inward. When he came to, he couldn't move. His wrists were strapped to metal rails. Something tight pressed against his chest. He tried to open his eyes fully, but the overhead light was blinding. He knew that light. It was surgical. His training kicked in before his fear did. The beeping to his left was a portable cardiac monitor. The tubing at his arm was in 4-line. Saline. The faint hum near his head, an oxygen concentrator. This wasn't a random kidnapping. This was organized. Vitals stable, someone said, casually. A woman's voice replied, blood type confirmed? Oh, negative. There was a pause. A satisfied silence. Daniel's stomach dropped. Oh, negative was rare. Universal donor. Valuable. Organ trafficking isn't a myth whispered in dark corners of the internet. According to the World Health Organization, thousands of illegal organ transplants are performed globally each year, fueled by poverty, corruption, and desperate demand. Victims are often migrants, the homeless, or people who vanish quietly. Daniel didn't fit that profile, which made him dangerous. Because someone would look for him. They hadn't fully sedated him, just enough to keep him weak. He forced his breathing to stay shallow, pretending unconsciousness. Footsteps approached. A man leaned into his field of vision. Surgical cap. Mask. But the eyes, steady, practiced, were unmistakable. This was no butcher. This was a trained surgeon. You're awake, the man said softly. Daniel didn't respond. The surgeon studied him for a moment, then turned away. Prep him. We'll take the left kidney first. Move fast. Left kidney first. Daniel's mind screamed. Kidney removal was common in illegal organ trade. One kidney could fetch tens of thousands of dollars on the black market, especially for wealthy foreign recipients who bypassed transplant waiting lists. His heart pounded so violently he was sure they could see it on the monitor. And then something unexpected happened. The generator sputtered. The lights flickered. One of the assistants cursed. Not again. The surgeon snapped, switched to backup. In that moment of chaos, Daniel felt something shift at his wrist. The strap. It wasn't fully secured. He had fixed enough operating tables to know their mechanisms. Cheap portable ones sometimes had manual latches that loosened under weight. He flexed slowly, millimeter by millimeter. The room dimmed again. Why is the power unstable? The woman demanded. We're running off a portable unit. It's overloaded. Portable unit. This wasn't a hospital. It was a makeshift surgical site. Later, investigators would discover the building was an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, converted into a clandestine operating theater. Black market equipment. Stolen pharmaceuticals. A refrigerated container in the back. But in that moment, Daniel only knew one thing. If they cut into him, he might not leave alive. Illegal organ removals often skip proper cross-matching, sterile technique, post-operative care. Many victims die from bleeding or infection. Those who survive wake up missing pieces of themselves. He couldn't let that happen. The lights went out completely. A full blackout. Someone shouted. In the confusion, Daniel ripped his right hand free. Pain shot through his skin as the four tore out. Warm blood slid down his arm. He swung blindly, knocking over a tray of instruments. Metal clattered across the floor. "Grab him," someone yelled. He rolled off the table, hitting concrete hard enough to see stars. His legs were still weak, but adrenaline is a ruthless drug. He ran through a half-open metal door into darkness. The compound wasn't large. He stumbled across gravel, hearing footsteps behind him. A gunshot cracked the air. It missed. He dove through a gap in a rusted fence, tearing his shirt and skin. And then he kept running. He didn't stop until he reached a main road, where headlights blinded him again. But this time, it was salvation. A truck driver slammed his brakes. Daniel collapsed in front of the vehicle, covered in blood, half-sedated, babbling about kidneys and surgeons. Most drivers might have fled. This one didn't. He called the police. The case exploded. Authorities raided the warehouse within hours, but the surgical team had vanished. Equipment gone. Refrigeration unit emptied. Only traces of blood and abandoned packaging remained. It took months to piece together the network. Victims had been trafficked across borders, lured with fake job offers or kidnapped outright. Corrupt intermediaries connected wealthy recipients abroad with underground surgeons willing to operate outside legal systems. Payments moved through shell companies and cryptocurrency wallets. Daniel's medical knowledge became the prosecution's backbone. He testified about the equipment, the procedures they planned, the clinical precision of the team. 3 arrests were eventually made in connection with the network tied to a broader international trafficking ring. Others are still at large. Physically, Daniel recovered. Emotionally, he didn't, at least not quickly. He couldn't stand the smell of disinfectant without shaking. He left his job at the clinic. For months, he slept with the lights on. But he also did something else. He spoke. At conferences. On panels. With advocacy groups fighting organ trafficking. He worked alongside organizations that push for ethical transplant systems and stronger enforcement. "People think it's an urban legend," he once said during an interview. "It's not. It's supply and demand. And as long as someone is willing to pay, someone else will be hunted." His mother still calls every evening. Now he always answers. Because the scariest part of that night wasn't the knife or the darkness. It was how organized it all felt. Clean. Professional. Profitable. And for a few terrifying minutes under that surgical light, Daniel understood something chilling. To them, he wasn't a person. He was inventory. If you found this story shocking and eye-opening, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more gripping true crime stories every week. Your support helps us continue bringing awareness to real and disturbing crimes happening around the world. What do you think about this case? Do you believe organized organ trafficking rings are more widespread than we realize? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every comment and would love to hear your perspective.